Okay, I've wound the table across now. I had to make sure that I kept the table pushed with my hand as winding it across, otherwise you'll find that your lead screw will come out on your spider connector, on your Lovejoy underneath. Okay, what we need to do next is we need to get the keyway out of the old X-axis lead screw. We need to get that keyway out so that we can pull that old shaft out, because we're going to need this part. What I believe we do is that part goes onto there, and then onto the end of it goes the original part which held the handle, because otherwise if we don't do that, the end of the shaft has got nothing to slot through and secure to. Okay, so I'm going to do that next. Okay, I just found that I was unable to remove the keyway. It was very, very tight. You could try heating the bar, I guess, to remove it, but being as I'm not going to be using this lead screw again, I've just took my grinding disc to it and just flattened it off to the diameter of the rest of the rod. I should now be able to tap that through and to remove it. What I think I'll do though is I think I'm going to screw something onto the end there to protect the thread. Okay, I've just found out with the existing parts which we've got, you wouldn't be able to put the handle on this end. You'd have to have the lead screw made longer. Either that, or you'd have to have a different size block for the end, because by the time you've put that on and you've put this on, there's no room left to put a handle on. I suppose what you could do is you could have this mounted and then have two spacers in there or something, but I've had a dual shaft anyway, so I can put an handle on that end for manual use, but with me being right-handed, it would have been nice to have it on this end really. Guess what would be possible is that these components could be fitted on the opposite end, and I don't know if in the software in Mac 3 that you can set the stepping direction, i.e. reverse the direction to suit, I'm not sure. But if not, you could just connect the sequence for the stepper in reverse so it thinks that it's going that way, even though it's actually going the opposite way. Okay, what we're going to do now is, it was quite difficult to remove one of the ends of the bearings from off the shaft. What I did is I mounted it in a tube after I'd undone the brass nut. Mounted it in a tube, then put a nut on the end of the thread to protect the thread. I then hit it with a hammer, which slowly brought this to the end of the shaft, and then I was able to pull it off from the shaft. Okay, what we do next then is we slide that with the groove facing towards the end onto the end of the shaft. We then take one of these bearings, slide that on there. Okay, now what we're going to do next is we take the original end piece, we check that we still got that end shell for the bearing in there. We then slide that on there. Okay, same again, bearing on this end, the other end of the bearing shell we slot on there. We take the little bolt that came with the lead screw, with the nylon part facing outwards, we then slot that on. I find it easier to slot the bottom in first and then bring it up, just for getting it started. There you go, and that's on there. I'm not going to tighten it all the way, I want it so that slides. Now I'm going to fit this part in, and then I'm going to slide in the bolts. Okay, I can't do that while holding the camera, so I'm just going to do that now and put the camera down. Right, that's coming together nicely now. just caught those just for the moment, just to show you. What I'm going to do is, as I tighten up, I'm going to line this up with the end of the bed. That's what I did at the other end as well. I lined it up with the end of the bed because there is a little bit of movement in that. So I'm going to bring that up. Then once that's done, I can then just nudge that up. Right, I'm going to tighten those up now, which is going to be with a 5mm Allen screw, Allen key. Okay, not all the way because I want to position it nicely before tightening it up all the way. I'm going to do that now. Right then, there we go. Having wound the table so it's all the way this way, what I've done is I've put my little hand wheel on here, the one which I use up on the Z-axis, which came from the fine adjust on the Z-axis. So what I've done, I've put that on there, wound it all the way as far towards me as I can go so that the bed was solid. I then kept my hand on there, locking it off, and then I put a pair of mole grips onto this strange nut, or if you've got a proper tool for it, obviously use that, but I'll just use mole grips on it. I've wound that up so that it's brought the bearing shells nice and close together, and I've left it at that. And then that's moving nice and easily, freely, no problems at all. So there we go. That's the mechanical side of all the access he's done. Okay, hope you found this tutorial useful. Hopefully I can do some more tutorials in the future to help you all. I'm just now going to sit my A axis on the end of the Z axis table to show you how it will be mounted. Okay, that's where I plan to be adding my fourth axis, which will be the A axis. That will also be servo controlled, sorry, stepper motor controlled. At the moment it's just got the manual handle on there. So the the stepper motor will be orientated this way, so we're not binding up with anything. I think that should work quite well. Right, thank you for viewing my tutorial. Oh yeah. I'll just sit my vice back on there as well. And that's my setup.